Jesus Christ, you people suck.
Wow.
Wolverine wanted to be just...
Back in the days when we played video games, it was hardcore for the nerdy and lazy. Now things have changed and all our video games are also for the casual and lady. But that's okay, you know the score. We told you a million times before. Playing consoles, not just games, is in the past. And every week you listen to the best damn internet radio crew. It's the N4G podcast. It's the N4G podcast.
Alright, it's time for another week of N4G Radio. This is episode 719 for October 17th, 2022. And on the show this week, we got the Wombat,
Word up.
we got Anthony.
I am also here.
You are here. And you are everywhere. You are the eternal
Eternally.
cylinder. But anyway, it's video game time. Again, we continue to be in the thick of it. I'm depressed because Terrence isn't here to talk about Ghostbusters. But we have other games we can talk about. So we'll kick it off. Anthony, you wanna get us started?
Yeah, I ain't played shit except for Overwatch 2.
Ah!
Well, no, hold on. Let me explain.
Well, y'all two can talk about
I
that.
was doing review. I did play review games that I still owed reviews for because I was behind, as I was called out on the podcast last week.
By who?
And,
Who would do such a thing?
I don't. Yeah, the boss. And there's no point in talking about those. I'm kind of done with both of the games I've reviewed. There's still more games to review. It's just I was like that. I finally got the one that was slowly sucking my will live.
That's I forgot. But are you still wanting Mario Rabbids?
Oh, I figured someone else was taking it. It was one of those if someone else wants it, I'm totally understand.
All right. Well, I don't have it yet, and I thought it was
Yeah,
you.
don't
So
don't ask for it on my behalf. If a code gets sent, I will absolutely take it. But
All right.
If they don't, it's not. I don't care.
that's fine.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll talk about Overwatch when we get to you, Ken. So it doesn't really matter.
What was I didn't play that. What?
Yeah, sure. We didn't definitely play fucking 2 nights in a row.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've barely touched
Jay
it.
was with one of them, and then your wife was.
Yeah, exactly. There's always somebody to play.
Anthony, you didn't embarrass him in front of his wife, did you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
good.
he
Okay,
carried me. He showed me that I
No.
6
I
years.
meant more with my words.
Oh well, that too.
Were you ashamed of your words and deeds?
I was.
Is there a moment in my life where I'm not?
I don't know.
This
maybe.
podcast is just a monument to my failure as a human being.
Oh wow.
That was actually the original working title of this podcast.
Yeah. It was.
What a word. It didn't really work in the song.
Right, yeah, that was the problem. Boogeyman couldn't fit it into the lyrics, so we changed it.
He couldn't come up with a
Monument
rhyme.
to my failure of human being.
He left the...
This is the monument.
He left the Jesus Christ, you people suck in there, but he couldn't get the other end.
That's true. When you
Yeah,
killed
we
the
should
dragon.
probably have him update that song.
Does he still even do that stuff? I haven't talked to him in like forever.
I mean, he's still got all the stuff to do it. I
Uh.
don't know that he has been doing much of it recently, but he does still definitely have all the stuff to do it.
Oh, yeah. Well, we have 2 songs, and one at the beginning, one at the end. And it's like, yeah, I know. I forget how long that song has existed until I go back and listen to the shows from way back when.
Yeah, and
Honestly, how crunchy it sounds kind of says this was recorded years ago on a computer.
it was definitely recorded years ago on a computer. That is
Absolutely.
definitely true.
Even though that I've upped
in the quality.
Yeah, even though I upped the
the
bit
tools
rate.
weren't there.
Yeah, even though I upped
Yeah.
the bit rate on the
Oh,
podcast,
upping
it's
the
still,
bit rate would not help.
No, it is what it is.
Yeah, so we'll have to have him update it.
Oh yeah, just sit down and write a new song. That's
Yeah.
fine.
That's fine.
All right, I'm not
Make sure
gonna
you
pay
include Anthony in it. And maybe take out some of the people who haven't been on the show in like 5 years, 6 years.
50% of the song is about people that haven't been on the show in 5 years.
To be fair, though, we kind of have to leave Gambus in there because nobody will listen to the show if we don't.
I mean, he's 100% like he's been in every show because he's the outro sound.
Right. Well, and we have to leave him in the song because it gives people hope that he's going to show up.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's like 90% of the reason anybody tunes in is because they hope this is the week he comes back.
Yeah, I should probably stop putting the names in the title.
Yes.
Because,
Because if nobody knew who was on the show, they might tune in.
Yeah, I'd at least
ringing
get 5
endorsement
minutes.
right there.
Yeah, I'd at least get 5 minutes of listening time.
Right. And be like, oh, Jesus, it's these motherfuckers again.
Yeah.
All right, turn it off.
Get through the intro. Who's on the show? Fuck it. Click off.
Anthony and Ken again.
And now Anthony plays Overwatch, so this podcast is just...
Oh,
bad.
God.
It's just
I might not even tune in anymore.
Everybody's just like, no! We might have podcasts that are just Overwatch now.
That's all it is. It's always interesting when somebody just types WoW in the chat. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. All right.
World of Warcraft, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I hope so. The other W should be
Women of
capitalized.
Wrestling?
So Anthony, you're not going to talk about anything? No games?
Well, I mean, we'll talk about Overwatch. I'm assuming later. I don't know how do we even structure this at this point.
I don't know. I stopped trying to structure this show 20 years ago. It's been that long, right?
Close.
Yeah, close enough. All right. Well, I'll move on to the Wombat then.
All right, well, this should go quick. I played... Well, we'll start with the one that I won't really have to talk much about. So I played a lot of Chivalry 2. And, man, I love this game so much. It is just a blast to play, especially in the 64-player mode when it's just absolute chaos all over the place. People swinging and hitting your own teammates and, trying to pick the right attacks so that you don't kill the people on your team around you, but also to make sure you get around the blocks of the people that you're fighting against. I love the fact that you can continue fighting if your arm gets cut off. You just obviously lose access to any two-handed weapons you have. And it pops a little message on the screen that, so obviously you'll bleed out if you fight one-handed long enough, but it pops a little message at the bottom of the screen with your bleed out timer on it that says it's just a flesh wound.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it's really great. I've been playing with all the different classes so that I can unlock the upgraded weapons, and like the way it works, just so everybody knows, is there's 4 main classes. There's Archer, Vanguard, Footman, and Knight. And so the Archer starts out with a longbow, and then once you play enough, kill enough people, win matches, upgrade them, you unlock the crossbow. But then you can also unlock. There's class unlocks, so like you can upgrade your longbow or your archer to a crossbowman. But then there's also weapon unlocks. So if you want to keep playing an archer, you unlock like a war bow or other bows and arrows. And then so when you're the Vanguard, you start out as a guy with a big double-sided axe, and then you can unlock like a war club, and then a executioner's axe and a great sword and so forth. But then you can upgrade them to a raider, who basically has 2 primary weapons, So if you lose one or if you throw one, you've got another one. You don't have to worry about using your backup weapon and so on and so forth. So it's a lot of fun to play the various classes and upgrade the weapons, and there's customization options and stuff where you can unlock different armors and different skins for the weapons and all that stuff. But they do a really good job of keeping the objectives mixed, so that like there's modes where it's team deathmatch, basically, where you're trying to kill a certain number of people on the other team. And then there's modes where they're more objective based, and the objectives differ depending on the map. So like there might be a map where if you're the attackers, you have to try to steal pigs from the village, and then once you steal all the pigs, you move up and you have to destroy this lookout tower, and then once you destroy the lookout tower, you have to destroy these like standing stones that they worship. And then once you destroy those, you have to go to this place and kill the druids that lead this sect or whatever. And if you're the defenders, obviously, you have to try and stop them from accomplishing those objectives. And if you're the attackers, in order to win, you have to finish all the objectives. If you're the defenders, in order to win, you only have to stop them from doing one. Because as soon as you stop them from doing one, it stops their progress, and that's it. So it's really well balanced, and because everyone has access to the same classes, you're just kind of upgrading the weaponry and stuff that you get. It stays pretty well balanced. So it doesn't matter if you're playing against people who have more unlocks than you. It's still, like I said, it's still well balanced, and it's so skill based because there's a lot of blocking and countering, and you have to, if you block the right direction, you get a chance to counter, and and if you block and you swing with the right attack, you get a chance to parry. So yeah, it's the combat's very deep, and so you've got this mix of this sort of deep strategic rock paper scissors-esque kind of combat, along with the fact that you're playing against, you're playing in 64 player matches. So there's just people all around you, all trying to block and attack with the right attacks at the same time. So it's just a blast. And it's, like I said last week, I think it's a very, very good upgrade to the original Chivalry, which I also loved. So, and it's free on Game Pass. So everybody should be at least trying it out. That said, I also played Asterigos, Curse of the Stars. And I know Ken did as well.
So the stars.
Yeah, it's cursed. It's not very good. I mean, it's okay.
It's fine.
Okay, it's fine. The game really can't decide what it wants to be.
No.
Like it wants to be a Dark Souls game, and so you've got these like really challenging boss fights, and boss fights against big monsters and stuff, and at the same time it also wants to be just kind of like an action RPG, and so you've got you don't really start out, but I'm going to say you start out because by the time you finish the tutorial level, you have all of them. You have, sword and shield, and a hammer, and daggers, and a staff, and these bracelet things, and you can kind of mix and match which weapons you want. You can have one as the main weapon and one as your sub-weapon, and then you can do combos that involve both. The problem is it's slow, and it doesn't control well enough to do what they want it to do. So the coming from a game like Elden Ring, which is challenging, but controls exactly as well as it needs to be able to do everything that you need to do to finish that game. This game, the controls fight against you, at least in my experience. So, on top of that, the animations are kind of wonky. And Ken, you brought up when we were off show, you brought up a good reason as to why that is. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so what it seems like is happening here is like the game itself runs at a certain frame rate, so it's like running at 60 frames a second. But like as the enemies are in like the distance, and you'll even notice it sometimes when you get up close to them, they're running at a different frame rate. And I think one of the best examples of this is like when Street Fighter 5, I gotta remember the number, Street Fighter 5 first came out. The fighting in the foreground was running at 60, while like the characters moving around in the background were running at 30, and it's just really jarring to see those two things kind of mesh together.
Because it really... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
I was just saying, it makes it look like the characters are running in stop-motion animation.
That's
it's
exactly
crazy.
what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got that kind of happening in the background, where the enemies in the background look like they're in stop motion. And then I mentioned this off show too, but the main character runs like no human beings ever moved in the history of humanity.
She does.
I mean, her hips move as if independent of her body. Her hips couldn't be moving the way they are in the animation unless she was literally crossing her feet over each other every time she took a step. So it's just, I don't know. It's a game that is trying to do a lot of different things, and as a result, doesn't really do any of them all that great. So it's fine, and it's not. We should mention it's not a full price game. I think it's $34.99. It is an indie studio. It may even be their first game. I'm not sure.
It is. I researched it when I was writing my review. It's literally the first game they build, and their studio is called Acme Game Studio, and I'm like, come on.
Yeah. So I think probably if I were reviewing it, I'd give it like a 6 or a 6.5. It's not great. It's exceedingly average.
Yeah.
So I may play a little bit more of it, just because we're kind of in a drought right now. But it's also jarring to go from playing a lot of Chivalry, which is a completely different kind of combat, but again, it never feels like it's fighting against you. It does what it's trying to do pretty well. To this, where it's just like, I don't know, all the attacks feel like they take too long. I don't know, it's just weird. It's hard. It's one of those games that's really hard to describe unless you're actually playing it. It's hard to describe the feel of it unless you're actually playing it, other than to say it does not feel good. So yeah. Oh, and controls, I forgot to mention, there's some really weird control decisions. If you use the staff as a sub-weapon, and you hold, I can't remember if it's the L trigger or the L bumper, it goes into like a reticule where you can aim. But unfortunately, in order to shoot, you have to either press or hold the Y button, but you have to aim with the right stick. So you're like doing this weird claw with your hand to try to shoot with the Y button and still aim with the right stick. It's very weird. So,
at least you got
great.
one set of controls. Like, that game had completely different controls before that launch patch.
Yeah, it's just not great. Ken, I'm not sure if there's anything else you want to say about it. You're the one who reviewed it, so I'm sure you played more than I did.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out like so many things about this game. Like, for example, was you're walking through the city. I think it's like in the second area after you leave the like hub area that you discover. There are enemies that'll just ignore you unless you touch them, and then they'll like attack you. And also, what is the fucking point of the bonfires in this game? The bonfire equivalent. Like, it respawns enemies.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to be there to save. You don't have to be there to upgrade. You
All it does is heal you.
Yeah, it heals you and respawns the enemies. I'm like, I have plenty of health potions. I don't need to respawn all the enemies.
Yeah. And
I don't want to fight them anyway.
They are very generous with the health potions. So,
yeah.
it's very strange. You're right. You don't, like, it doesn't save your progress or anything. You just get a chance to heal yourself in exchange for respawning all the enemies in the area, which, again, is one of those things where it feels like, hey, Souls has this kind of stuff, so we should probably have it in our Souls-like. But it's kind of half-assed. Which, again, I know it's an indie studio, and I know it's their first game, but I think, kind of half-assed is a great way to describe the game. It wants to do a lot of different things, but it doesn't do any of them all that well.
Yeah, and the further you get into the game, you'll realize that they spend a lot more time on certain areas because some of them will be vibrant with people. Like, one of the weirdest things is, I don't know if you've made it to the ghetto yet, like where you're walking around on those planks.
I have not.
There's a spot where there's people just praying. They're just standing there. And, like, there's enemies around them, but nobody's doing anything. They're just standing there praying. Yeah. And then, like, you go to this spot and it's like, you can press A to pray, and you pray and it goes, nothing happened.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, the other thing, and I don't want to beat on this game too much, because I know it's their first game, and like I said, I know it's an indie studio, but the script and the voice acting also are not very great. No. So it's the story, I guess, at a high level's interesting enough, but it's just not good enough to support what they're trying to do. So
no, absolutely not. It's one of those games. I think one of the things I said at the end of my review was like, I like the thing they have here. I'm excited for them to make more games, but this just feels like, yeah, you didn't quite get where you wanted to be.
Yes. Yep. So, yeah, that's enough. That's enough about that game, I think.
It's enough about you, Stargo.
It's one of those games where as soon as you start talking about it, it feels like it's worse than it is. It's not probably as bad as I'm making it sound, but it's not good either.
No, somebody will buy this game for like $10 in the future and be like, Ryan and Ken are stupid. This game's fine.
Yeah, probably. But yeah. So that's really it. I haven't played anything else other than those two. I have other stuff to play eventually, but I have not played them. So,
all right. Well, I guess I'll wrap this up. I'll start off with I booted up my Switch for the first time in a while, and of course I played Pilot Wings 64 because you have to play Pilot Wings 64. The game is so good. But the reason I booted the system up was that I got a code for Atari Mania, which is not the Atari 50th anniversary thing. That's a separate thing. So Atari Mania is like this pixel art style top-down game where you're walking through the offices of Atari, and you'll go into like you're like one of the first things you do is sweep up some trash. Like I don't know if you're like the main boss or whatever, but you're going through these different rooms, and in each room like there's little nods, and you can unlock box art from the original Atari and like put it on the wall. And like, to give you an idea of what this game is, like you walk into one room and Millipede is there, and you have a conversation with Millipede, and then you get sucked into like this thing, and you do these micro games, almost like a WarioWare, but the games are based on like old Atari games. So you'll be moving a little pixel guy across a Pong table, or you'll be trying to shoot down a Millipede, like playing these little micro Atari themed games. And it's actually kind of cool. It does go through like the history of things. Obviously it feels a little more like a smaller celebration of the 50th anniversary because that big package is coming in November which will have the original games plus a bunch of like documentary style stuff. But this is a cool. The only weird thing about this game is that it's only available on Switch and PC, which seems really weird. Like, why is it not on other platforms? That just, I don't know, it just strikes me as odd. I was hoping Terrence would be here. He got wrapped up, but he's been playing a bunch of Ghostbusters. I did play through the tutorial. The one thing I will say is that this is from Ilphonic, the same guys that worked on Friday the 13th. They worked on The Predator. They also just recently released Arcadegeddon.
Was Evil Dead then?
No, Evil Dead is a different team.
Can you understand why I'd make that mistake, though?
Oh yeah, they make a type of game. They make an asymmetrical multiplayer game. And Ghostbusters is absolutely that. But the one thing I will say is this is their most polished game. I really respect the kind of respect that they showed to the franchise. Not just in the visuals, but also in the voice acting. I believe that is Ernie Hudson. I think it might be Dan Aykroyd. If they did, that's pretty good get. But it is very much, hey, you're a new Ghostbuster. Let's go out on these missions, and then you can play the I think it's 4v1 multiplayer. Graphically, it looks really good. It feels really good. It's a first-person game. It's very much, shoot the ghost with your blaster, throw the trap, pick them up kind of thing. There's a lot to it. You can upgrade your gear while you're on the mission. But again, I've only played the tutorial, so I'll leave it up to him. Hopefully he'll be back next week and he'll be able to talk more about it. No More Heroes 3 is another game that I've been playing. The Xbox/PS5 version. And that game is incredibly awesome, and it's incredibly awesome that we can finally play it and it doesn't look and run like complete trash. So that's kind of the best thing I can say about this port. They didn't really...
The PC version apparently is not good.
The PC version just runs better, but it didn't get any of the... Well,
I've heard it's just the Switch version.
It is the Switch version, but it's got to run at a better frame rate.
I've heard it doesn't, but maybe it runs slightly better, but not enough to be like, I'm going to purchase this again.
Well, I know that it's missing like the upgraded textures and some of the like stuff that was added to the Xbox and PlayStation versions. I know it's just a port of the Switch, which is weird, but God, it feels good to actually play that incredible game at like not a terrible frame rate, which the Switch version was atrocious. It was one of the worst games technically that I think I've ever played. I can talk.
Did you play Squishy Game?
I did. I was just going to say I can't talk about A Plague Tale. I realize that the embargo is like 3:00 tomorrow, and I'm not holding the podcast for that. But I did play Scorn. I'll be fair.
I didn't realize it was only new console.
Yes, and for good reason. Holy shit, dude, that game looks amazing.
I need my weird monster dick sucking.
Isn't it Cloud?
High definition. It is Cloud, yeah.
Okay, so you can play it.
I can, but
I mean, at least you can check it out. I mean,
how well do you think that's gonna be on cloud gaming?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Everything has played good.
Let me rephrase this as a question: is it gonna be a bad game to play on cloud?
No.
I mean, listen,
No.
So it's not.
I played Chivalry 2 the other day on my phone on cloud using phone internet, and it played fine.
Okay.
You know what Scorn is, right? It's not. You don't need to hit headshots.
I figured, but I figured I'd also ask because
It's 100%. Okay, that's probably a bad way to start that. It's about 90% puzzles. Like it's not a combat game.
And that one sequence that I saw from Twitter that.
Oh, you talking about
what the hell?
Yeah, the putting the thing on his junk. thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what the fuck is that?
I mean, you got to play the game. It's
I don't know about that, man. There's like
it's a different kind of
there's
horny.
some things.
I'm just gonna say that.
If you get off to that, I don't want to know you.
Hey, don't kink shame. That's not right.
Absolutely kink shame. What the fuck?
Scorn is it's. I think it's exactly what we thought it was going to be before it came out. You're either going to love it or you're going to be disgusted by it.
It's really fucked up. Like, it makes H.R. Giger look tame in comparison.
That's like right out of the gate. Like this game does not pull any punches. And speaking of not pulling any punches, these puzzles, dude. Whew,
I definitely will try it out then, because I like H.R. Giger stuff and I like puzzles.
I mean, this is your
expecting-
jam. This is your jam. Then that's exactly what this game is. The
fleshiness.
It's very squishy. It's very
I don't like
moist.
that terminology, but sure.
It's very moist.
Oh wow, yeah. You know what? I like squishy more.
Yeah. All right. That's all the big games. I'll pound through the indie games real quick. Tin Head is the next Cubite Classics game. It's an old 16-bit game. It's fine. It's weird that
That's the sheriff game. No, it's Tin Star.
It's 10 star. No, this is like a little. He looks like an enemy from Mega Man, and he shoots like a bullet from his helmet, and it only goes at an angle. So it's a really weird fucking game.
What was it with like some 16-bit games where they're like, we're only going to allow you to shoot at an angle?
I don't know. It was like, let's do something different, so you can only shoot at an angle.
This is something we couldn't do on an NES. Okay, yeah, but like maybe you shouldn't.
No, because then like you got to figure out how to hit enemies that are on the ground. Like, well, how the fuck do I do that when I'm shooting at like a 90-degree or a 65-degree angle? It's weird. The Darkest Tales, which I think we talked about last week, that's the one where the teddy bear comes to life, and then he's going through like the fables, like Little Red Riding Hood stuff. That game is wordy as shit. I was not expecting that. Like, that bear and the little fairy that's with him talk, like, constantly.
How annoying was that?
It's pretty annoying because a lot of it you can't skip.
Stop with that.
Like
It's not good in any game.
They just talk like
Because if I'm replaying it, I don't want to hear the same stuff over again. You know, like
I'm never going to replay this game. I mean, you'd be lucky if I actually play any more of it. I mean, it's not a bad game. It's just like you didn't really do anything.
you know what
for
I
me.
mean, though.
Yeah, no,
You know what-
absolutely.
like it's just
I don't know. It's a weird game. Like when the first sequence you get to is Little Red Riding Hood looks like she's eating a wolf and then has a really weird conversation with you while scurrying around on all four legs. This is a weird game.
I kind of like that nightmare fuel
Yeah.
imagery there, but
You're welcome.
Yeah.
The next game I played is legitimately the like worst Super Smash Brothers clone I think I've ever seen in my entire life. It's called Go All Out, and I started arcade mode. I played one match. The computer, all it did was jump in the air and then stand there and let me hit it. And visually it looks like a mobile game, which makes sense because I got a login bonus the first time I booted it up.
oh no.
This
Oh, you gotta love the login bonus.
and this game, like, it's unapologetic. Like, if you look at the roster of characters in this game, it is essentially like, here is every generic Odd Lots dollar store version of a character that you recognize.
The speaking of consoleized mobile games, apparently the Paw Patrol game is that too, the racing one.
Oh, I only played through this tutorial, but I didn't get that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just didn't play it. Are you sure it's not the Starlit racing game that you're thinking of?
No.
Because that Starlit game is
mentioned
absolutely a mobile fucking free-to-play shit.
somebody mentioned on another podcast that they played it with their kid, and it's like, yeah, no, it's clearly a mobile game. You can tell by the like graphics being scaled up poorly and everything.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, don't
break Drew's heart.
Don't play Go All Out. It's not very good. Fueled Up is I'm gonna say like the best description I can give for this game, but I don't want you to get excited. It's fine. It is the adventures of cookies and cream on a spaceship. So,
okay,
like you have two characters, you can swap between them by pulling the right trigger, and then you move them around to do different stuff to move forward.
Are they rabbits?
No.
That's two different games now that on this podcast that have been described as fine.
It's fine.
Fine is worse than bad. Because bad at least means it's probably interesting in some sense.
That's
fine
fair.
implies that, like, it exists.
Fine is that game that you forget about for 20 years.
Yeah, and your mind won't be, like...
At least I'll remember the really bad ones.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we all remember Superman 64. We will not remember Asterigos.
No, I'll forget that game existed in 6 months, if that.
Yeah, yeah.
Gene Rain will forever live rent-free in my head.
Yes.
For two reasons. One, because, wow, that original game was terrible. And then they were reworking it, and they did. And it's like, this isn't terrible. Like, what a weird comeback.
Hey.
Because they could have just abandoned it, and I wouldn't have blamed them.
The swollen scorpions.
Oh, scorpions.
The next game I played is Winter Games 2023.
I saw you playing that the other day.
Dude, I did the what do you call it? The biathlon, where you like ski, cross country ski, and then you shoot targets.
Biathlon.
Which is such a weird sport. Like
It's kind of an awesome sport, though.
It is, but it's such a weird combo.
What a weird combo of skills. Exactly. I wouldn't fuck with them.
No, man, they can chase you down and shoot you. Be careful. But no, it's fine. You press buttons, you move directions. It is. RC Rush is a game that I wanted to love, but God, it's frustrating to play. It's RC Pro-Am, essentially top-down radio control cars, but like I felt like every time I took a turn, I flipped my car. And when a game boots up and tells you that you can have the game automatically steer for you, you fucked up. If your controls are not good enough that you have to offer an option right out of the gate to steer my car for me, you fucked up.
I would assume that's for, like, kids.
But it's a big blaring window, and it recommends everybody play with assisted steering at least.
Well, if it recommends it, then yeah, maybe.
Yeah, no. Like, the hard difficulty is you have to steer yourself. That's bad. Alright, the next game I played, I almost screenshotted it because we talked about it last week, but I played that Sup Want Kiss game, which is Goddamn the Garden. That game's kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. You can kill every NPC just by dialogue choice.
What is this?
This is that first-person shooter where you pulled the screenshots last week, and it had the little like demon monster.
Oh, yeah. The 3D weird little. Yeah, okay.
Dude, the first mission is you trying to get some dude's capybara back, and it's from that guy, the Sup Want Kiss guy. And if you tell him you'll do it, he calls you a loser. And he tells you, I don't give a shit if you get my capybara back. Dude.
It looked good.
This game
weird.
is wild.
Like
it's cool. I'm not gonna lie, it's cool.
This world that we live in where there's these weird first-person shooter games, I kind of dig it.
Yeah, especially ones like this where the characters are so weird. I played Bloodwash. I like that game. I don't care.
You have to remind me what Bloodwash is.
That's the one where it's like the 80s VHS tape looking, very PS1 graphics. where you go to the laundromat and then you have like all this crazy shit happen, like a killer's on loose. Okay. Yeah. It's very retro horror style.
It's too many games every week.
Dude, you're telling me, like, I'm trying to play through these. War Pips is the next one. That's, but I guess you call them tower defenses, where, like, you're literally just producing units and then having them run towards the thing to shoot it. And, like, I don't know. It's fine. It's got a cool art style. When I saw it, I thought it was going to be, like, Return Fire. But it is literally just, like, press a button to produce units kind of game. And I'm just like, nah. Not a whole lot going on there. And the last one was Lego Brick Tales. It's an isometric adventure game where you build with Legos. If you know what I just said, you know exactly what that game is.
Well, there was another one too, right? There was Builder's Journey or whatever it was.
Builder's Journey was the one before. Like, Lego's just pumping shit out. And then there was that Smash Brothers clone that came out a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that was an Apple Arcade original.
Yeah. Like, Lego just like, fuck it, just make every game Lego game.
I don't know if they're tied to WB anymore.
I think WB just had, like, licensed Lego games, like the spin-offs or whatever. I don't know, I can't keep up with this shit. Alright, I think that's all I can tell you about. I think everything else I have to keep my mouth shut about that I'm playing. Even though a bunch of it is out this week, I still can't tell you about it.
Alright, so Overwatch talk.
Oh, Jesus. Well, the game finally works. We should probably...
Yeah, well, that's nice. I wish it had worked sooner.
Yeah, that'd have been cool.
Like I said to you, Ken, like, I had promised to play. Had I not, I probably would have just not played again.
Yeah.
Because what would be the point? The game wouldn't let me log in. The app, the Battle.net app, still doesn't work.
Oh, that's awesome.
Won't log me in. Don't know why. Yes, we finally got in. I joined. I had to do training first, and then I joined U and J, and had to learn on my feet. And I only had access to, I don't know.
Have you unlocked everybody now?
Oh, I paid to unlock everybody.
Oh, okay. Because I know you were like pulling one character per match when we were playing.
Yeah, well, you know, I've already got my favorites, so.
Welcome to Overwatch. Characters.
Well, it's more of like, I don't know how some of these fucking characters work at all. Like Mercy, I didn't have. I don't get Mercy at all. God bless anybody that can play her, but I don't know what I was looking at there. And that was the thing, like, I will say this, that, like, I do like the fact that there's kind of beginner level characters. I guess with, like, a roster that big, it's kind of like a fighting game in that sense.
You know what? You know what was, like, I don't know if they still do it. You know how Jay was telling you, like, to go back and hold a button and it'll give you, like, their abilities or whatever?
Yeah.
There used to be a star rating in that menu that would tell you, like, how hard this character is. Is this like a beginner character? Or is this like an advanced character? I don't know if that's still there or not.
I'll check. But yeah, we played matches, and then I've played some by myself because you have to do so many before you can get to ranked. And then,
God, are you going to do ranked?
I don't know if I can give it a shot.
I want to know what you place at, because one of the things that this game does is it, like, you can only match with people within a range. So, like...
Right, that's what I figured. So I figured, fuck it. It's not like I'm going to be... If I'm really bad, I'll only be put with really bad players. It's fine.
Yeah. So... Welcome to Overwatch.
I mean, I played TF2 for a while. And then I think the last, like, multiplayer, like, shooter that I was into was Battlefield 4. So...
It's crazy how good this game is to me. It just is.
Well, it's basically... So, actually, that's not true. Halo 5 would have been the last multiplayer game I kind of put any time into. And it wasn't fantastic.
No, it was kind of bad.
It was, and the only mode I liked in it was capture the point, and so that's here, which is nice. And then I think my only issue is that like there are 2 game modes, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, because they've removed 2CP, and push is kind of like payload. It's
push is just payload that is a
both teams can push.
So it's integer based, so it's like it's a plus or minus for your team, and whoever gets it further towards the other side, it's tug of war essentially. But I mean that's just payload. Like payload, you can move the car back if your team's on it. It just doesn't move back as fast as it moves forward. I think that's my only complaint. It's like, well, what are we doing? Am I defending a point? Because I feel like the point matches I'm better at than I am at payload. But some of that's
what I like
other
about
players.
what I like about the payload mode is that it is really kind of team based, and it's really good for swapping up, like to counterpick people. The other thing I like about payload is that, see, you're playing quick play, so you're only getting one side. In a competitive game, you each get a turn. So like, you'll play offense and push it, and then in round 2, you'll play defense and try to hold them. So it makes it a little more interesting when you have both of those together.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, that's why payload is probably my favorite mode, is because I play a lot of competitive, and the competitive is like you start off and like you'll attack, and how far did you get? Like, did you make it all the way? Well, no, but you don't. If you can hold them, then you can still win the game. Like, that's what's interesting about it for me.
I like it. I'm still in the early phases. Like, if it doesn't evolve past this, I can definitely see the point where I'll stop playing. Just because, like, so I don't know, like, this is more of a problem with a lot of multiplayer games. I don't know, it seems to focus, or it seems to pull the same map quite a bit. The amount of times I've played Toronto is far less than I've played like Hollywood. It started doing a lot of Hollywood for a while there. I've played I don't know the maps by name, but like there's maps that I've only seen once.
Yes.
And it's just like
there are maps you haven't seen at all because they're not in rotation, which is a pain in the ass.
Not in rotation makes sense, but when I know it's in rotation now, and it's like, okay, but why is this one not showing up as much as the others?
I think the push maps and the new maps are kind of being fed a little more frequently because they're new. And let's be fair, we haven't had a new map in 3 years, so that's probably why they're pushing those a little harder into rotation. But some of my favorite maps are not in this rotation because they're being replaced by the new ones. So Hollywood and Kings Row are probably two of my favorite that are in the rotation right now.
I don't like Hollywood.
I love Hollywood. I really do.
I do not like Hollywood. I don't mind the first and last segment of Hollywood, but when you get into Western Town, I hate that section.
That section is kind of like, yeah, if you don't take the high ground, you're probably going to lose.
It just turns into chaos there. Mm-hmm. And once you're past that section, I'm like, well, at least I understand how this works, but like they can come all, like both sides can just kind of go around and it just turns into chaos and the team splits and it's just like that fucking...
Yeah, if your team splits, it's a pain in the ass on any map.
I don't want to talk about Overwatch too long because I know it's annoying. It's just, I did play it. I do like it.
At least there's a new game to talk about now.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a new game you can actually play. Like Ken said, it was irritating to try to play this new game, and then they're like, no, failure, we're not connecting you.
They did announce what they're giving away for that, though, and I know some people are mad, but...
What is it?
You get a free Legendary Reaper skin, You get
Sure. I don't play as Reaper.
you
so-
get a weapon charm that is a health pack, which
Okay.
I think is pretty cool.
Doesn't it kind of defeat the purpose of the legendary skin, though, if everybody has it?
I mean, at this point, legendary skins are kind of pointless anyways, because you don't
Well, the
open
skin it just
crates.
means what tier it is. They basically color code the skins.
Well, yeah,
But
but I
it's
thought
not-
the whole point of skins is to differentiate yourself from other players. So if they give everybody the same legendary skin, it feels kind of like
My issue with that whole system is so now there's no loot boxes,
No, so you can't
which
earn
sounds good on paper, but then so there isn't a higher drop rate. There isn't really any skill to unlocking these. So why are they color coded? I know that they price the legendaries more than whatever, like the common, which are just usually color changes. But I was like looking through the skins, and for the most part, I was like, I don't care about any of these.
Dude,
And I was looking at the characters I was playing, mind you, but like I'm like, I had the police diva skin. I'm like, well, that I like. I like the look of that her mech, and I like the fact that she's in a police outfit. That's neat. I liked like Farah's the kind of the main character I play as, and she's got like a Gundam styled armor, and I'm like, well, that's neat. But like I'm looking at Lucio, and like because that's kind of the main healer, although Batista's kind of where I moved to. But you know, it's like these are okay, but like they're not seasonal. They're all just unlockable at this point with money. Sorry, coins, whatever. And I don't know. It's a weird thing to be like, here's a rarity system for stuff that isn't rare. It's just like a how much does it cost sort of thing. Like, you know, it's like implying that my phone is rare because it's expensive. That's not, those two things aren't the same.
Yeah, it's a problem with the fact that initially they were rare drops in loot boxes, and
Right.
now they're not. And I'm going to be honest with you, those common skins that are just like color done, like putting monetary value on those is really kind of just sickening to me, because I'm like, dude, we didn't want those skins when they dropped in our loot boxes. I sure as shit ain't paying money for them.
And they're not, in my opinion, I looked through a lot of the characters. A lot of them aren't interesting.
No, the common
It's a
skins
very
are
weird
terrible.
system where I'm starting to go, man, I kind of wish loot boxes were here.
Oh, 100% I wish loot boxes were there. I can't imagine coming into this game without having everything, because I would just look at 90% of it and be like, this is trash. Like, I don't even want this.
Yeah, they're like, here's some emotes, and here's... I'm like, I don't give a shit, guys.
Yeah, I don't care. Like, I don't use
I'm here to play-
sprays anymore. I use emotes to be funny. Same with voice lines, but I've now had to remap one of my buttons to the ping system, because that's a lot more important than spraying. So,
Right. It's a weird thing to come into a game that I know has changed and know what was there before, and the fact that that stuff's not there, it's weird, because it's like, at the end of a match, I'm getting experience towards a battle pass to unlock a skin, or not even a skin most of the time. Like, skin, I think, is like every 10 levels, so it's like,
yeah.
you get, here's a spray. I'm like, oh, I'm not using these, so this is pointless.
Hey, to be fair, I've played this game for 6 years, and 9 out of the 10 things in each level of the battle pass, I don't give two shits about at all.
And I don't even give a shit about the skins, really. I just paid so I could have every character, because I was like, well, for some reason it's not connecting to the fact that I had Overwatch on my PC. So I said, fuck it, I'll just spend the money, because it's not like I bought Overwatch. It was part of a Humble Bundle. And I said I'd play, and then I never played. And, you know, I'm not... it's not like they're trying to get money out of me all the time. So here's your money, like I'd spend on a new game. You let me try it for free. I liked what I played. Take my money, and then let's just not talk about that ever again, type of thing. Like, let's never ask me for money again. That's nice.
Yeah. I think the only money that I'll put into this game is if I have to buy the premium battle pass. Like right now I've got like 20,000 coins or whatever banked, so like the next 2 battle passes I can just pay for those, but I'm not spending money on skins. I'm just not going to do it. Like the stuff in the store I'm not even that interested in. Like I saw what was in there and I was like, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah. I will say this though. I got play of the game and Ken was there to witness it, and then it was the most unexciting play of the game.
You got a
which just tells
sharpshooter.
me how everybody else
yeah.
what everybody else was playing, but I was playing Farah, and I was up above, and I was just picked off like three guys in a row, I think.
Yeah, I think it was 3 total.
But it was the end of a kill streak for me, I believe, because I think I got shot shortly after.
Hey, if you make it to 25, you get an achievement, so you know.
I have come close. There was, when we were playing last night, one of the defend the points where I was diva, I was murdering a lot of guys, and I was like, I think it said 15 or whatever, so it was like, and I was over that, but I didn't get there. That's been the Overwatch Minute. I have played. I probably won't talk about it unless exciting things happen, though. I played Overwatch.
I'm sure I will continue to play it with you, and then you'll stop playing it, and I'll keep talking about it because I'll keep playing it.
Drew. Oh, by the way, Drew's not here, but Drew said he went back. Everybody, you remember how he said he wasn't gonna?
Oh, I know.
I don't know.
Drew really wanted to hate Overwatch 2, and then he played it, and now he's playing again. So you know.
That's right, Junkie. You're back on. You're back on the shit.
All right, let's move it on. What's out this week? A lot. So let's just get into it. Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, A Plague Tale, Requiem, Ghostbusters, Spirits Unleashed, The Sims 4, that's the free version, Them's Fightin' Herds, Nevmo Capsula? I don't know what that is. The Last Hero of Nostalgia, Batora, Lost Haven, Park Story, Phantom Abyss going into game preview on Xbox, Second Extinction coming out of game preview into 1.0, Tempest, Level Escape, Warhammer 40k, Shoot His Blood and Teeth, Gotham Knights, JoJo Siwa Worldwide Party, New Tales from the Borderlands, and Persona 5 Royale. Construction Simulator, Life in Willowdale.
I have a feeling, by the way, that Drew's not going to be on Overwatch for very long because he's going to have to invest that time in the JoJo Siwa game.
Exactly. He's got to get those daily achievos.
Fucking, that's the... it's only 5 minutes of my time. Is it though, Drew? 5 minutes every day for the rest of your life?
For 5 cents?
Yeah, 5 cents.
50 points is, I think, the equivalent of 5 cents.
He has the oddest, idea of it just takes my time and not my money. Like, that is the cheapest response you could possibly have.
We're at a point in our lives where I have more money than time now. I'm not a kid anymore. So my time is much more valuable than my money these days. So Life in Willowdale, Farm Adventures, Norco, and that's it for the new gen consoles. That's all your releases for those. PlayStation 4, Xbox One, I'm assuming it's a lot of the same stuff, but let's roll through. Yep. Gas Station Simulator, the big game, that's coming out this week. Miraculous, Rise of the Sphinx, Mount and Blade 2, Bannerlord.
Mount and Blade is it's good. I played the original on PC. Obviously, that one's pretty old now, but I'm sure this one will probably be pretty good.
And then Yomawari, Lost in the Dark. And then Xbox One, probably a lot of the same stuff. We're also Doctor Who, The Edge of Reality, plus The Lonely Assassins. World War II Bunker Simulator. I think.
I wonder if that bunker simulator has you playing as Hitler killing himself.
Oh, wow.
Over and over again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Last Day on Earth. Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch. We got Pill Baby. Pill Baby came out yesterday. Mars Base. A Plague Tale Requiem, the cloud version.
Ooh.
Do you need
I'll
to?
pass.
Yeah. Advent Calendar is coming to the Switch.
Is that the sequel to Advent Rising, Ken?
God, I hope so. I've been waiting with bated breath since 2000. What was it? 2002, 2003 when that game came out.
Orson Scott Calendar. Orson Scott Calendar.
Orson Scott Christmas card.
Fight Crab Shella Awesome Edition.
I have to assume that's like a physical release or something.
Maybe it's just like bundled with some stuff. I don't know.
Maybe. I didn't think there was anything else for that, but I guess there is.
Hidden Objects Collection Volume 4.
There's too many volumes of that.
There is. Harmony's Odyssey. Rich Man 11. Apraloply After the Rain? Apraloply? Dude, that is a weird name for a video game. Backgammon board game puzzle. Beholgar. Cubic Ban.
Beholgar looks pretty good. It's like they said it's a Metroidvania, but it looks like an old NES game.
It sounds like the dude has... Let me see if I can guess the main character. He's wearing like a loincloth and he has a sword.
Goddamn right.
Okay. That name just screams that.
It reminds me of Volgar the Viking. That's the first thing that came into my head.
Yes. Where was I? Cubic Band and Dead Secret Circle. Doomed to Hell. Flying Neko Delivery. Forest Pop. God damn, this list is long. Harmonia. Lost Grimoires 2, Shard of Mystery. God, I almost said Shart of Mystery, and I was like, God damn, that would be great. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Matchpoint Tennis Championships. Mini Golf Adventures Cherry Blossom Valley. One More Island. One True Hero. Pure-Hearted Gyaru and the Shape of Happiness. Sea Horizon. Seduced in the Sleepless City.
Oh.
Shutter Nyan Enhanced Edition. The Jackbox Party Pack 9. I'm going to butcher the fuck out of this one. Toho Goyuki Ibun Sunken Fossil World.
Well, you got the Sunken Fossil World part right.
I was good on that one. Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher. Okay, I want to play that. That sounds rad. Crowalt Traces of the Lost...
So that is...
Go ahead.
Sorry. As I say, that Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher, so that is all the Ultraman monsters in a Monster Rancher game. Wow, it really killed the conversation there. Okay, cool.
Sorry, I'm getting a text message. As soon as I mentioned it,
that sounds awesome.
Well, I think they're actually huge still, too. Like, from the screenshots I saw, it's like still a big monster. I just don't know how those Monster Rancher games work now because you don't pop a CD in.
It's right? It's based on a pool. The Switch version was based on a pool of like stuff. Like you could pick CDs that were in their database. It's weird.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
But if you like Ultraman, it's a bunch of those monsters that you don't know the names of.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll be curious to know if the Godzilla ripoff is in there. That's literally just Godzilla, but like painted orange.
Sure, why not? Crowalt Traces of the Lost Colony, Crystal Goddess, Fantasy Blacksmith, Halloween Hero. It's not spelled how you think. It's Howl, like Halloween Hero. Into the Breach. I already said that. All right. Run Out. She Wants Me Dead. Space Warlord Organ Trading Simulator. The Walking Zombie 2. And World Soccer Cup 2022.
If you haven't, you need to look up that organ trading simulator. It is an intense-looking game.
That's... yeah.
Like a stock market. Like, for organs. Yeah.
You don't want Wall Street Kid for organs?
I know that that's an old game. I have no idea how it plays.
I don't know if I remember either.
So you're telling me it's kind of like the Oregon Trail?
That's actually a game.
It is.
Oregon Trail?
Trail.
Yeah, the Oregon
Yes.
Trail is a game.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's the Oregon Trail with zombies.
Oh,
Essentially.
okay. That makes sense.
Let's do some news. Got some news this week. Oh, where to start? Let's start with Meta, because Meta had an event this week. Which, if you don't know what Meta is, it's Facebook. You know, they announced
the thing that you deleted.
The app you never go on anymore.
Yeah, it's the app full of like racist comments and fake news. That's what Facebook is.
From
Where? Yeah, the app where
From the
your
family
relatives
members
get
you
all
talk
their conspiracy theories from.
Yeah, exactly.
delivered in minion meme form.
Yes.
So Meta acquired a bunch of game studios, including Asgard's Wrath developer Sanzaru Games, Echo VR developer Ready at Dawn,
That hurts me.
Yeah, Onward developer Downpour Interactive, Population 1 developer Big Box VR, and Wilson's Heart developer Twisted Pixel, which is weird that they chose Wilson's Heart as the Twisted Pixel game. It should be
Was
fucking
that a
Explosion
VR
Man.
game?
It may be, but it's fucking
That's
Explosion
probably
Man.
why.
Xbox is also bringing the Xbox Cloud Gaming to the Meta Quest store.
Yeah, you get to play in like this, like 2D theater kind of thing.
Yeah, that's been a thing forever. Like, you could do that
Yeah.
on the original Oculus. And then probably the biggest announcement that came out of this was the MetaQuest Pro, retailing at a very succinct $1,499 US.
You'll get a second job if you really want one.
Dude, you need 4 jobs for that. I don't even know who this is for.
That's how I feel about video games in general.
What, you can't afford them?
Well, it's just like, I mean, we were having that talk last night, and we'll get to it, but it's just, they're all expensive, and I don't necessarily see why. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so
Like-
the thing somebody brought up about this is that I guess the PSVR 2 has better specs than this, but since the
that's-
PSVR 2 doesn't, like, it runs off of the PlayStation hardware, whereas the Quest Pro runs by itself,
Yeah, you don't have to hook it
Right.
up to anything.
maybe the PSVR 2... See, the thing when I saw this was like Sony's probably over there going, "Thank you, Jesus. Now we can charge $600, $700, $800 and still look cheaper,"
Wouldn't be surprising.
which makes me nervous because, like, if
Yeah, but-
PSVR 2 is over $500, I think it's just DOA.
To be fair, you only know that though once they start selling at $1,400.
Yeah, I don't.
Like if they can't sell them at $1,400 and you can't sell them at $700, well then you don't have room to sell them at $700.
This is why VR is not a mass thing. Like, it was starting to become more mass appeal when they were selling a $250 headset.
Like Gangstar, mass appeal.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Rest in peace, Guru.
But yeah, dude, I can't wait for the first YouTuber that, like, puts this up. It's like, oh, look at my $1,500 headset. Woo! I can touch.
I need to disclose that I got it from the...
Yeah, I
Yeah.
need to disclose.
I
just like all
recommend
the-
everybody buy one. Well, Come on, man.
You know how many people got those new video cards that are like $1,700 or whatever, and they're like, you should buy this. I'm like, why?
And I realize that sounds like hypocritical because we get stuff for free for review.
Yeah, but we don't always tell you should buy it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Ken and I both got a Steragos for free, and we just shit all over it.
Yeah, like...
I got Kirby, and I liked it, and then no one's playing, so I told everybody not to buy it.
I mean, that's fair. Like, I tell people all the time not to... Like, that's the reason why I have the little thing in the reviews. Like, what would I pay for this? This is what I would pay for this. You know, like... If you were getting my money, that's what would happen. Anyway, let's move on because I don't really have much to talk about that. There's been a whole lot of conversation this week about the Activision Blizzard stuff. I'm just going to kind of hit some of the high levels. Microsoft jumped out and was like blaming the CMA, saying, you're using a lot of Sony's talking points. We feel like you're more trying to protect Sony and not the consumer. And then this tweet was flowing around about what Sony wanted for this merger to go through, which was... for COD on Xbox, no extra content that is not available on PlayStation, no hardware enhancements better than PlayStation, and no Game Pass benefits. To which I was just like, you're fucking kidding, right?
We don't want you to please, God, don't. It's not fair.
Like, you literally just asked for the three things you pay for on a yearly basis on so many other games, including Call of Duty.
That's why they asked for it.
Like...
Because they want to be able to keep doing that.
Well, they ain't going to be able to do it because Microsoft ain't going to take their money to do it.
No, I'm just kidding.
It's not cool unless we do it.
Dude, I would love to live in a world
so tired.
where Sony could pay Microsoft to get exclusive content on the PlayStation when Microsoft owns Call of Duty. Dude,
I'm
fanboy heads would explode.
More than anything, I'm just tired of hearing PlayStation whine.
Oh, dude, I'm so done listening about this Activision lawsuit shit.
When they do it themselves, and I'd call Microsoft out if they did the same thing. You know what I mean?
Like, 100%.
Fucking whine. You're a company.
It's just a good reminder to everybody that none of these companies give a shit about you. They only want your money. And so when something like this happens, it's easy to see how much they all want your money.
Give me that money, boy.
Which, if nothing else, should show you how much power that consumers have.
I am so tired of hearing about it.
What?
Oh, are we transitioning to Bayonetta?
That was a pretty good transition, yeah.
It was a pretty good transition. So, yeah.
Let's point it out and make that transition far rougher than...
So this went out yesterday on Twitter. The original voice actor for Bayonetta. What's her name? I apologize. I did not grab it.
It's like Helena? Is that her first name?
Like yes. Helena, yeah.
Taylor, I believe.
Yeah.
So
I don't know her last name.
She put out a video basically breaking NDA, which means she's going to get in trouble for this, saying that Platinum Games offered her $4,000
$4,000 for the whole game. Yeah.
The whole game.
And she said that was their second offer.
Yeah, the first one was worse.
Listen, we spent so much money on Babylon's Fall.
Yeah.
We need you to take a hit on this. Please.
And then, so they switched voice actors to Jennifer Hale, which, by the way, was certainly not cheap.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, there's no way that Jennifer Hale came cheap.
Yeah, so I saw the thing floating around, basically them saying, well, if we're going to have to spend this money, we should spend it on a big name or something.
Happens far too often.
But, yeah. I mean, Bayonetta's voice is, iconic.
Yeah, and it's the same thing that happened to David Hayter.
Yeah, how'd that work out? People still bitch about Kiefer doing that voice.
And it's not that Kiefer's bad. It's just, what was the point? He did a bunch of talking in audio logs, and that's about it.
Yeah, he didn't say much during the actual game itself.
Yeah, well, David Hayter, we couldn't get the... he had to act it out, and it wasn't the... Kiefer could bring in a fucking... It's just... It's disappointing when, these creatives decide that like the people that help bring their projects to life aren't integral to the fucking creation. Like, are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah, it's frustrating and it's disappointing. And apparently, Kamiya denied it on Twitter.
Yeah, sure, whatever. You can. Why would somebody lie about this?
Especially
Yeah.
break an NDA to lie about it, because that's. I mean, she could get in trouble for that.
Yeah, 100%. The big thing I want to take out of this is I saw the internet, a lot of energy yesterday. Like, I'm banning, I'm not talking about Bayonetta. I'm not talking about Bayonetta. I'm not buying Bayonetta. Motherfucker, Game Informer ran a story this morning about Bayonetta that was positive. Don't act like this is going to change your shit.
As someone that hasn't partaken enough with the rest of the Bayonetta games, like I have them on Wii U and I never started them up. I just like, that makes it easier.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of the series anyway, so it doesn't.
I
impact
love
me
the
one way or
series.
another.
Yeah, I love the series. I've played both of them. Like, I'll tell you who's getting a free pass in this is fucking Nintendo. This is a Nintendo published game.
Yeah, but like
They should say something.
Nintendo doesn't have a. You're right. Nintendo should say something, especially because they basically own the character at this point.
Yeah,
Even though
like
Sega's still,
she's
but,
on
like,
rent from Sega. Yeah. And I don't
And
know.
it's just like they brought her back to voice the character in Smash. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you paid for that. Why wouldn't you pay for this? Like, Nintendo's got to be the one, fronting some of this money. They have to be. I don't know. I'm just the big thing for me is I think this is crappy. I think it should be made right. I don't see these same motherfuckers complaining about it this weekend, not talking about this game in 2 weeks when it's out.
Oh, please. Are we having the talk about gamers having no spine?
Yeah, where they're like, I'm going to boycott this, and they're like, no, but I really want to play it. Like
The best image around that is still the Call of Duty one, where they said they were going to boycott it, and then it showed that Call of Duty still had the highest consecutive number of players or whatever, and it was a whole bunch of the people that had said previously they weren't going to play it.
Yeah, like, I'm not the kind of person that boycotts games. Like, I've never said I will because of the thing. I think this is crappy. I will still play Bayonetta. There's a lot of people out there that are like, I'm totally not playing Bayonetta now. And we'll talk about these fuckers in a minute about another game. But you'll see these people like, I'm not playing this game. I'm not playing this game. Y'all motherfuckers are going to play this game. Like, at least own up to it. Like, if you do, you do. If you don't, you don't.
I'm going to tell you this, I will not play it.
Well, yeah, but you weren't going to play it anyway, so.
That's true.
I have another Platinum story. So apparently there was another interview because people are just interviewing Platinum nonstop. Why they don't put their games on Xbox. And they were quoted as saying, the reason is simply that we couldn't make it in time as we didn't have enough hands on deck. Basically, we were just too busy to include Xbox in our platform support. That's pretty much it. They go on to say, personally, Xbox is a very important hardware platform moving forward. We definitely want to keep Xbox in our sites moving forward for our titles. We want to release our titles on as many platforms as possible moving forward, so we definitely have Xbox in mind.
Wow, could you say the same thing 400 times over and over again? It sounds like me on this podcast.
That's some PR spiel.
That PR was terrible, though. It's very important to us. It's because it's very important.
We
love it.
Important.
It's great. Did we mention that it's important?
Xbox. We want to be on Xbox. We'd like to be on Xbox. I feel like we could be on Xbox. Like,
I feel like
Brendan
Phil
Fraser in what's the movie where he makes the deal with the devil, bounces around body to body?
Bedazzled,
yeah, where he's playing the basketball player. You want to play good, and you hope you play good, and you feel like you play good. I think we played pretty good tonight.
That sounds like every post. Like, I can tell you what a football player is going to say in a post-game interview.
Yeah.
What were you thinking when you were out there tonight? Well, I thought I was just going to have to go at it hard.
Just give 110%.
Go straight forward and give you 110%.
All the guys around me, the offensive line played good.
And I got the team. Yeah, I got the team. The team's backing me up. Yeah.
That movie's
then
actually
they ask
very
some
funny.
follow-up. Then they ask some follow-up question. The guy still sounds like he's completely gassed, and you're just like, stop torturing this man.
Of all the people that seem to be,
gold.
of all the people that seem to be on the cusp of a renaissance in their career, I'm glad Brendan Fraser is one of them.
Absolutely.
I want to watch The Whale.
I heard it's good.
I've heard it's amazing. Yeah. Very, very interesting role for him. Gained a bunch of weight for it.
All right. God of War PS5 bundle was announced this week.
It's more expensive than the PS5 by itself.
Well, see, so that's kind of the second part of my story to this is like PlayStation 5s have been readily available, but they've been the Horizon bundles and the God of War bundles, which again is just Sony increasing the price on the system in the US without increasing the price on the system in the US. When the only bundles that are available are the $560 or $70 bundles, and all they're giving you is a digital code.
Oh my god.
That's a price increase.
Yeah.
That's called marketing, and it's genius. You got to give them credit for it. They didn't up the manufacturer retail price. They just made it so that the only one you can get is the one you got to pay an extra $60, $70 for. So, oh boy, Square Enix, what you doing, baby? Final Fantasy VII First Soldier will shut down after barely a year.
I forgot about this story with this being this week, and I'm the one that brought it up.
Yes. Another dead...
Fuck this company.
Yeah.
Shocking. We know so much. It's, our Western studios don't do as well as we'd like them to. Yeah.
Please buy Babylon's
I'm going to bring
Fall.
that up every time you fucking fail. And it's not, has nothing to do with the fact that, I'm like, oh, how dare they, besmirch us as Westerners. It's nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the fact that they took talented people, they shit on them for years, and then sold them for nothing. And the studios that they propped up and said, oh, these are great, and we basically pretended like they could do no wrong. Oh, well, look at that. 2 failures of live service games in a row. Good job.
We have an update live. Apparently, Kamiya's Twitter has been removed.
What?
So, in the chat, Terrence just sent a message from Nibellion on Twitter, who, if you don't know, he's kind of like a game insider. He just posted that Kamiya's Twitter has been removed. If you go to there now, it says this account does not exist.
Huh.
And the reply is, bro blocked himself.
That is not what... Oh, is that what it says? Yeah, okay. Because I said that is not what Terrence said.
No, that's not what Terrence said, but I can't say what Terrence said. I've just...
I mean, you can.
I can,
this podcast
but,
gets canceled immediately.
That's just wrong, Anthony. I'm not going to say that. We're going to move on to the next story, which is Activision's in a lawsuit again for sexual harassment. What do you want? This shit writes itself. Whatever, man. I'm just moving on. Buy them and get all these fuckers out of here, or don't, and let's just get rid of Activision. Can we do that? One of the two?
I'm okay with either option, really.
Yeah.
Just sell off all the properties. Fuck it.
All right. I got 2 more stories left, and man, I'm mad about both of them. But let's go. Gotham Knights is 30 frames a second.
Here's the one that I was talking about.
So this story, somebody got the game early, mentioned it, the devs confirmed it, people on Twitter are having a goddamn panic attack. It sucks.
I was trying to explain to Terrence, it's not that it runs at 30. I have no issue with games running at 30, as long as it's locked. If you're, at this point, not doing that, I don't know how I feel about that, but I don't really have an issue overall. But my thing is, this is a next-gen only game. Mm-hmm. They, we can't run it on old consoles. But it's well, sure, but you're dipping the frame rate to run lower than the PC, and the PC is going to have the options to lower the graphics.
Mm-hmm.
So why not just have it on old consoles as well? If you're going to make caveats, like, and this is after you just, like, the implication is it can only run on new consoles. It can only do that. Beyond that. But it's like, it can't really even be on new consoles then, because it's not taking full advantage. Or it is, and you're choosing graphics over frame rate, which has been an option for a while on higher powered systems.
Pretty much every game releasing now has a graphics mode, which is 4K 30, and a performance mode, which anywhere from 1080p to 1440p running at 60.
It's just weird. And I don't know what their excuse was, but it's a very weird...
Their excuse was that they're running untethered co-op. To which I say, aren't you also running that on the PC? I don't...
Yeah.
I have a problem believing that these developers could not... And I'm not going to use the lazy dev excuse, because there are no lazy devs. Like, these devs work their asses off.
Oh,
on
no,
these
there's
games.
lazy devs, but not in AAA. That's like a very rare indie dev that just throws shit together to make a quick buck. That's a lazy developer.
Sure. But what I'm saying here is, like, I don't think they're being lazy about this. I just think there's something else going on. I have no idea what it is. I would be shocked if they could not find a way to make this game run at 60 frames a second. And I would be shocked if it doesn't happen down the line. I also saw the very false statement out there that this was because of the Xbox Series S. Dude, the Xbox Series S has games running at 120 frames a second.
Yeah, that's not the issue.
You're not going to convince me that the Series S might run this game at, 900p at 60 frames a second? But it could still run it at 60 frames a second. It's CPU bound, and the CPU in an Xbox Series X is pretty damn good. So, I don't know, man. All of this crap is just... I think it's crappy that the game's not doing it, but also you guys on Twitter that say I will not buy a 30 frames per second game, get the fuck out of my life.
Oh, you'll cave. Shut up.
But it's not even about that. Like, no. If you can literally stand there and tell me that you cannot play a game, you will not buy a game because of its frame rate, get the fuck out of here. Like, for real.
I can't even tell the difference, so.
Well, I know you can't, but that's because you're wrong.
I can in Asterigos, apparently, where it's different between the foreground and the background.
But you could tell that those dudes look like they were stop motion.
I could tell that, yes.
That's the difference. Like,
well, yeah, but a 30 frames per second game that's always 30 frames per second doesn't look like stop motion animation.
No, because it's all running at the same frame rate,
Yeah,
so
that's
it's all
what I'm saying.
refreshing at the same time.
That's the only way I can tell the difference, is if there's a discrepancy.
If you had two TVs side by side and you had a game running at 60 and a game running at 30, you could see the difference.
You can tell the difference. It's the same as like when you see a television that's got that motion smoothing shit on. And
Oh,
you're like,
the
something
soap opera
seems
effect?
off. Yeah, it's a bit like that, except that you can feel it too because you have a controller in your hand.
Yeah. And what's funny is, like, 120 frames a second, you can't really see that, but you sure as shit can feel it. But yeah, this is, I don't know. Those people out there saying they won't buy it because it's 30 frames a second, it's like, you weren't buying it because you just need another reason to say that Gotham Knights sucks. Because everybody, the narrative of this game is that it sucks. So.
The game's not even out yet. I just don't know what the fuck it is still. Like, that's my biggest issue with the whole thing. What is it? I don't know.
I cannot comment on that.
I know you can't, but it's just... I have a vague idea from conversations that have happened with people.
People that you will not mention here?
Correct.
Yes.
But even then, I'm still like, what? Like, they have not done a good enough job in their marketing to explain what the fuck is going on. But the same thing has been happening with the Suicide Squad game. What is it?
Well, the Suicide Squad game, at least in its defense, isn't even out for like a year, so there is that.
But to me, it's like, okay, but that's great, but I can't... You're like trying to get me hyped up, and the entire time you're not really telling me what I'm looking at.
Yeah, that seems to be...
here's some footage of gameplay, but not from the perspective of anybody, and it doesn't really explain what you do. Like, thanks?
That seems like a trend lately. Like, a lot of people thought Scorn was a horror shooter. It is not.
Yeah, same issue.
All right, last news story. I'm about to get angry again. PP was announced. PlayStation PP.
I didn't even know it was announced. It shows you how much I pay attention.
So, Extra continues to be pretty good. We're getting Grand Theft Auto Vice City, the definitive edition. Dragon Quest XI-S, Echoes of Elusive Age.
Okay, cool.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Dragon Quest Builders. Dragon Quest Builders 2. Dragon Quest Hero. You seeing a theme here? Dragon Quest Heroes.
So I'm going to tell everybody right now, Dragon Quest Builders 1 and 2 are very different, and I would not play 2 until you've played 1, because 1 is very basic in comparison.
Dragon Quest Heroes, The World Trees Woe and the Blight Below. Dragon Quest Heroes 2 Explorers Edition. Inside. The Medium. Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Striker.
My favorite of the Naruto, Boruto titles. I don't fucking know any of them.
Assassin's Creed Chronicles China. Assassin's Creed Chronicles India. Assassin's Creed Chronicles Russia. Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered. You seen another theme here? Assassin's Creed Syndicate. And Ho Hokum.
Is there a theme going on? Wow. Yeah. My favorite part of the Assassin's Creed games.
Exactly. All right. Are you ready for the PlayStation Plus Premium Classic Selection?
This is the more expensive tier, right?
Yes, this is the big tier. Okay. Are you ready for all those PS1 and PS2 games?
I'm sure it's about to be some grade A shit.
Yakuza 3 Remastered for the PS4.
Okay.
Yakuza 4 Remastered for the PS4.
Okay.
Yakuza 5 Remastered for the PS4.
I'm seeing a trend. All right.
Limbo for the PS4.
Okay, I like Limbo. That's a almost 15-year-old game now.
It's This is the classics.
Fuck off. No, this is not the classics everybody wanted.
Hold on, I'm not done. Ultra Street Fighter 4 for the PlayStation 4.
At least there's a good Street Fighter game.
Everyday Shooter for the PS3, which means it's streaming. And finally, Castlevania Lords of Shadow for the PS3 streaming. That's it!
We're rebuilding games from the ground up. Are ya now? Are ya?
That's it. No PS1, no PS2, and 2 streaming PS3 games. Fuck you, Sony. If I could downgrade my subscription, I would. This premium tier is a goddamn joke.
I just love how they were like, yeah, we're gonna like up-res and add achievements to old things, and like they've barely done that.
Yeah, like Siphon Filters, the big game 1 and 2 got trophies.
Siphon Filter should never be the big game.
Yeah. Yeah. At this point, I want to give you a fact here, Anthony. At this point,
hold on. I'm getting prepared for the fact.
The PlayStation Mini has more PS1 games than PlayStation Plus Premium after 5 months.
Not surprised.
5
Not surprised at all.
months.
I'm pretty sure I called what was going to happen early on. That they weren't going to support this because they're really bad at supporting things.
My God. And they're charging big money for this. Like, it's expensive. I just don't... Sony, you're fucking terrible at so many things. And this is one of them. This is just bad. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I gave them the benefit of the doubt so hard. And here's where we are.
Fool me once. Shame on you. Fool me twice, won't get fooled again.
Can't fool again. All right, that's all the news I got. Do you have any other news?
No.
All right, let me close that. I'm gonna pull up the emails because I got a couple. I got some emails, baby, this evening. First email comes from Adam. He says, "Hey all, just gonna channel my inner raging, ranting Ryan.
Oh.
But when are people going to learn that release day of a game is no longer the best time to play a game? I understand that, yes, the game companies should release a finished working product, but with the ability of patching these days, they feel like they don't need to. Be smart, play games at least a few weeks after they come out, or better yet, wait over a month.
Or
Take
a
a day
year,
off.
or like 6 years.
Take that day off a few weeks later. For example, the massive amount of people that think Days Gone is a horrible, buggy mess. I finally got around to trying it at the start of this year. Great story, no bugs, and I got a great price. I feel like a winner. It's because you are a winner. You are a winner."
I played that game at launch and didn't have those problems.
A lot of
I
people
played
did,
that
though.
game before launch and didn't have those problems. Yes, but there was... So, I would rarely call conspiracy out like I'm about to, but, like, people did not want to like that game.
No, they didn't.
And they did everything possible to shit on it before that game came out. And I'm still not sure why.
I have no clue. Like
I know people were like, it's not Uncharted. Or not Uncharted, sorry. It's not Last of Us. And I feel like that was the reason why...
You're right. Days
got
Gone
the
actually
shit-
played good.
That was Ken, everybody. Yeah, so it's just one of these weird things where I'm like, I don't fully comprehend why people didn't like that game. Was it a perfect game? No, it's open world. You're gonna have bugs. I'm not denying that those bugs existed, but I feel like a lot of people went out looking for bugs just to tear this game down even further. Because once it hit sort of the people, right? I have heard a lot of people like that game. It wasn't perfect, and my complaint came from the length and the pacing of it. But overall, like, I thought it was a good game. I thought it was different. I thought it did some interesting things, and it was like, oh, a sequel will perfect this. But we won't get that now because a bunch of people shit on it, so enjoy.
All right. The next email comes from Eeyore Kara. He says, "Hey, yo, it's Eeyore Kara. Drew, are you into Peppa Pig?" He's not here, but I will confirm. Drew is into Peppa Pig.
Big Peppa Pig fan.
Yeah.
Drew
Huge.
will be a fan of anything in order to get fucking points to save himself money for Game Pass that he then uses to earn points. He doesn't understand that it's like a never-ending Ouroboros of fucking time wasted.
Does anyone know
I
what
heard
happened?
that he's so
Oh,
into
go ahead.
Peppa Pig. I heard he's so into Peppa Pig that he actually says zebra.
Jesus Christ. All right, we're moving on. Does anyone know what happened to David Jaffe? Yeah, he's on YouTube and Twitch. He streams and answers questions with his big-ass beard. He interviews people. He's become like a streamer now or something.
Yeah, I mean, his last game was a bomb, so...
Yeah. I don't know. I don't hate Jaffe the way
I
most
think-
people do. So.
I think his last game was Drawn to Death, right?
Yes.
Oof.
The last one that came out, he was making another game, and then I think it got canceled or they ran out of money or something. I don't remember. Is it time for Twisted Metal Remastered? I mean, it could come out, but it probably wouldn't sell. I love Twisted Metal. That's coming from somebody who loves that series. I just think that genre is over.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that was that genre had its period in time, and I think it's over.
But what
now.
if we dropped 100 cars onto an island?
Yeah, well, actually, so that Twisted Metal wouldn't be the worst series to turn into a battle royale. So
That's true. That is true. When will we get a new Ridge Racer?
Ridge Racer.
Never. Sorry, but never. Is Gambit still writing book? I have no fucking clue. Probably.
Probably. I don't know.
He's been writing that lesbian vampire book for how long now?
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I haven't talked to Gambus in a long time, other than a couple snippets here and there on Twitter. So
I'm sorry. Oh, why did I think his book was about something else?
Maybe you just don't know him that well.
I did not know it was about lesbian vampires.
That's a joke. Like, that's what he told me, like, 20 years ago.
Okay.
Any updates from the Canadian princess?
you can ask Anthony that now. Anthony, any updates from your homeland's princess?
The princess is dead.
That's the queen.
The queen is dead.
Close enough. The queen is dead. The former princess is dead.
It's dead. Played that Hot Wheels game on PS5. Man, it's so good. It's pretty good. Do any of you play Pokemon Go? No.
No. My son played it for a very short period of time, and I watched him play it, but I never played it.
Has anyone ever seen a UFO or know anyone who has seen one?
No, I have not. And no, I do not know anyone who's seen one.
I mean, I've seen shit in the sky where I'm like, I have no idea what that is.
Those are
I'm
airplanes.
also like, yeah, but that's just it, right? Like, I don't know what that is, but I live relatively close to an airport, so I'm going to assume it's a fucking plane.
Hey, I saw some weird shit in the sky one night, and my wife was there, so I have a backup story on this. You know, like somebody else saw it too. I don't know what it was. It didn't move like an airplane. It was fucking crazy.
Listen, all I know is that Ken and I live within shouting distance of one of the most top secret Air Force bases in the country. So
yes,
if anybody's going to see some stuff, it's probably us, and I ain't never seen nothing.
I mean, Megadeth made a song about it. I mean, come on.
I've got one that's like, I know what it is now, but near where I live, one of the cities I can go through is on the waterfront, and at night I'm like driving, and there's just this array of red lights in the sky. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Because during the day, it's not something you notice, right? Like, the lights aren't on, and what they're attached to, but there's like this wire network that's out kind of near the waterfront. So when you're driving by, it looks like this giant cube of lights. And it freaked me the fuck out the first time I drove by it at night. I was like, what the fuck am I looking at? I don't know. Where is it? I'm like, there's nothing there during the day. Yeah, there is. It's just, they're not things you would notice because they're just kind of like posts. That's the only thing I can think of where it's like, oh, that was fucking creepy. But yeah, I can't say I've seen UFOs.
Has anyone seen a ghost? Any cool stories?
No.
This sounds like a Drew question.
Drew has that story about him and his dad going to that church. That one is creepy, and I'll let Drew tell it because I'll fuck it up. But
yeah, no, I don't.
I think he shared it on Phoenix Down one time when we were talking about creepy shit, and I'm like, yeah, that would be fucked up, and it's because his dad was there that I believe him. If it was just Drew, I'd be like, Drew, you're out of your fucking mind. Which is funny. I respect his father more.
Propane.
I don't know. I feel like supernatural and like freaky shit is less scary to me than other people. You know, like walking at night, I'm more afraid of people than I am of ghosts. In the forest, I'm more afraid of people than I am animals or ghosts. In that order.
Depends on the animal, I'd say.
Yes, but like, I'm more afraid of if there's somebody in a forest at night. They're not doing anything good. At least an animal, I'm like, yeah, well, you know.
Well, then why would you be there to see them not doing anything good? You must not be doing anything good.
Or something. You know what I mean? Like,
maybe they're camping. You're not the only one that's allowed to camp.
Man.
You're right, but it just, you know what? Like, they should be this. They should have the same response of why the fuck is there someone else here? I feel like that's a normal response.
Probably.
All right, he says, I heard the story once. A couple bought a new house. They were cleaning it. They were cleaning the tiles on the ground floor in the kitchen. Faces would appear on them. Freaked them out. Later, they found out the house was built on top of a graveyard.
Yeah, that's just like your mind's natural ability to try to find faces and things.
Yeah, God, what is it called? Pareidolia, I think.
Listen, my house was not built on a graveyard, but if you asked me to, I could go into my shower and find faces in the tiles.
Yeah.
100%.
Why are we not haunted by ghosts of dinosaurs?
Oh, man.
There you go.
I would love to be haunted by ghosts
Actually,
of
we
dinosaurs.
are. It's just called global warming.
Yeah, right. That's the dinosaurs getting their revenge.
Kids these days have no idea how good they have it. Game Pass, Netflix, iPhones. Back in our days, we spent hours at Blockbuster just choosing one movie. But I must say, I'm glad my childhood was before all this cool tech. Because mates and I would ride our bikes all day and night. Parents didn't have to worry about us being out and about. Played Street Fighter 2 for many years, watching Home Alone 2 VHS tapes over and over. I also had the Ninja Turtles green VHS tape with that huge-ass plastic tape cover.
Yeah, it's, I can still hear the sound of those big clamshell VHS cases opening and closing.
Oh, man, they were great. You thought you got
have
something
some
with
somewhere. I just don't remember where they are because I'd go and open one. Go grab one and open one so everybody could hear it. Have that nostalgia hit.
I remember there was a brief time period where there were like 5 VHS tapes that were available to purchase at McDonald's. I think I bought my Wayne's World VHS tape at McDonald's.
It's crazy to think that they sold VHS tapes at McDonald's.
Well, it was like a promotional thing that they had, where you could get them for like $5 or something like that.
Dude, I saw that. I saw the adult Happy Meal the last time I was at McDonald's, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on?
All I know is those toys are the creepiest things I've ever seen.
Oh my god! I don't. Apparently, you can get a Big Mac in a
Yep.
adult Happy Meal.
Yep.
What the fuck is that? That's not a Happy Meal. That's a Fat Man meal.
Well, makes you happy, right?
I mean, it depends. It's McDonald's.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it either makes me really happy or really sad.
Very hit and miss. The Whack
Yeah.
Arnolds.
Yes. I'm vamping because Anthony said, give me a minute. I think he went to go find a clamshell
VHS tape.
I'll move on. His email says, what do you think happens after we die? Do you think we go to another world? Do you wish that you could live forever? God, no.
I do not wish I could live forever. No.
At some point, I want to be done. Well, I want to sleep.
I do not know what happens after we die, and I don't think we're meant to know.
I think that's kind of the point, right?
Yeah.
All right. While he's still digging for that, he says, can we play a game? I'll post a few words. You say the first thing that comes to mind. You know one of these is bad, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah, always. It's just a given at this point.
Homemade nachos.
Delicious.
Yeah, cheesy. I think cheese. Gambus.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I miss him. Drew.
Also hilarious.
Propane?
Also propane. Just because you had just said that.
Redneck.
Drew.
I knew that was coming. I could have set my watch to that one. I think flannel when I hear the word redneck. I don't know why. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm stealing this one. Paw Patrol. Drew!
It's like you picked all these with a purpose.
Games.
Fun.
Yeah, fun's about the right word. Large Coke.
McDonald's.
That's a good. McDonald's has the best Coke. I was thinking like satisfying. A large Coke is very satisfying. Really big hanging boobies.
Eeyore Cara.
You know what? That's fair. That's fair. He says, till next time, take care. I think Anthony got lost. I think he fell in the toilet.
I
He
went
tripped and
to
fell
go see
looking
if-
for a clamshell case.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was looking for a clamshell case. I know I saw them. I don't know where they've gone.
All right, well, you missed the wordplay, but I'll just give you one. I'll say a word. Tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. Paw Patrol.
Drew.
Thank you. Moving on. Last email comes from Antonio.
No, we have to go back. You got to do some of the other words now.
You just do all of them from the beginning for Anthony.
For my sake, please.
Anthony, for you, homemade nachos.
Cheese. I don't know.
See, thank you. That's 2 cheeses. I win.
Okay.
Gambus.
Con.
Very literal.
Drew.
Man, you ever just draw a blank?
You just did.
Yeah, Phoenix Down. It's the first thing that's coming to mind.
Redneck.
I actually don't.
This is not very good. You wanted me to do this. This is not very
Dude,
good.
I don't know. I guess I was expecting, like, not random ass words. I know they all have to do with the show, but, like, Jesus Christ.
The fuck does redneck have to do with the show?
To be fair.
Yeah, well.
I did grow up with a very large FFA in my high school, so.
That's true.
There's not a single word to say fridge on the lawn, so moving on.
Games.
Fun.
Everybody said fun.
Yay.
Large Coke.
Sorry?
Large Coke.
Oh, fucking what I get from the theater.
Okay. And then it's not an York email unless I say really big hanging boobies. That's the last one.
Oh. Okay. Irakara. That's a pretty easy one.
That's also unanimous, apparently. So all right, we're moving on.
I think it's not just big boobs, which I think would elicit
It's
a different
the hanging.
response. It's the hanging, which is very much his writing.
All right, Antonio says, I've decided that sometime in the next 3 months I will buy a Steam Deck. I will use it primarily to emulate systems all the way up to the PS1 and maybe even PSP and Vita. I totally own all of these games, by the way, just as a heads up to my designated FBI watcher, just in case he is listening.
You gotta throw them off sometimes and just watch something that you don't like.
Yes. He says, I'll also stream Xbox and PlayStation games through their services. I might not really use Steam too much, considering I'm not a PC gamer, so I'll probably get the $400 model.
But my thing with the like going back to the Gotham Knights, it's like, well, a Steam Deck's affordable. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and you're going to be able to play it portably. And so again, like, you know, why can't this run on old systems? You know, I know it's more powerful, but like, you're going to drop the graphics. It's just
it's a bad
we treat console games at this point like they're built on the architecture of the console, which is not really the case. They're just PCs. And that's where I'm like, I don't get it. Like, the Switch is by far the most different of the bunch, and even that, and I know it's not like, look, I know it's not like just an easy Switch at all. Haha, not meant a pun, but whatever. I know that there's a lot of work that goes into making ports for the Switch, but a lot of that is probably the polishing of it, so it runs well. The graphics and options are already there because they're PC games generally. It's like, I just don't get it. Like, if we can port stuff to the Switch, are you telling me that these next gen consoles have something in them that can't be, like, for example, go and play the Wolfenstein New Order game. That still looks fantastic, by the way. They made an old generation version for PS3 and Xbox 360, the 360 version being 4 DVDs. And it runs way better than you would think, and it's because somebody, like, took some time to make some sales. Like, they didn't have to do that at all. They chose to. The only game that I can think of that really took a hit was Shadow of Mordor, where they were like, no, we need the processing power to run this part of the game. So if you're going to play the old version, we don't have the Nemesis system because it just can't handle that on the processing end of things. But they at least explained themselves. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they took the time to explain to us. So it's just weird when, like, you know, you're going to buy a portable PC that's going to be able to run this game. Steam Deck's neat. I might end up buying one someday.
It is a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, we'll likely end up picking one up at some point, too.
He says, I'm over 90 hours into AC Valhalla, and I think I have 4 or 5 more areas to align with.
Yep, probably.
As much as I love these last few AC games, I would love for the next game to be no more than 20 to 30 hours tops, because this is ridiculous.
Yeah, well.
That sounds like you were going to be like, yeah, well, fuck you, it ain't.
No, I just... It is definitely... The next one's going to be different, so you're going to get your wish.
Yeah.
I'm curious because I feel like everybody else has been paying more attention to that. So it's going to be like the old Assassin's Creed games, or it's
Mirage,
gonna be new?
Mirage is, yes, and they even indicated that by sort of copying off the original Assassin's Creed in the trailer, and Assassin's Creed 2 actually in the trailer. So yeah, the Mirage is going to be more like the old Assassin's Creeds. Red, which is the ninja one, is more like the RPG style. At least that's the early rumor. I don't think they've actually confirmed that yet.
Yeah. He says, on an unrelated note, recently I randomly stumbled across a movie I had watched multiple times when I was a kid, but I'd never thought about or seen since then. It was called Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Oh, yeah.
That's a classic. Dishes are done, man.
I still say that to this day when I finish doing dishes.
Exactly. He says, oh, by the way, I watched the new Hellraiser movie. I thought it was good despite being a little freaked out. I've never really watched the old ones because they really freaked me out as a kid. I can handle slasher films, but anything demonic or paranormal is a no-no for me.
Well, then, yeah, you don't want to watch those.
I have never, I'm going to admit something here, I have never seen the Hellraiser movies.
I saw the first one a long time ago.
I don't even know what they're about. I'm assuming it's about raising hell, but...
Not really. I don't really want to get into it here, but it's...
Yeah. I don't know. I've never seen them. I just know that the internet was abuzz and angry because it was a woman in this one.
Yeah, I think it fits.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, that stuff doesn't bother me. Well, they were pissed about the main protagonist in Prey was a woman.
Well, that's like that I didn't know about because I think I was off online by that or Twitter by that point. That's funny because like one of the best horror alien movies is Alien, which stars a female.
Right.
So definitely wouldn't work with the sister series Predator at all. Jesus. I'm pretty sure in the lore of Hellraiser, like, they can be upset that it's a lady, but, like, Clive Barker put a lot of weird lore into that, and it's, like, clearly, like, the original Pinhead is not the only one of those.
Well, yeah, there's a whole bunch of, what are they called? Cenobites or what?
Yeah, that's what they're called. Yeah.
God,
so
you
it's
guys
like,
know so much more about this than I do.
And I've never watched a full movie. It's just
I don't even know what it's about. The only thing I know is that the dude's got pins in his head. Like that's literally my extent of knowledge of the Hellraiser.
There's he's the king of lore for like horror stuff. Like almost too much information.
Huh.
I think the only movie I've watched of Clive Barker was Midnight Meat Train.
That sounds like a dirty movie.
I'm pretty sure that's the point.
Okay.
Is it Bradley Cooper in that? It might be. Jesus. Yeah, it's Bradley Cooper.
I don't think Jesus starred in that.
Bradley Cooper, Leslie Bibb, Brooke Shields, Roger Bart, Ted Raimi, and Vinnie Jones.
You're such a dick when you just roll over my jokes.
Yeah, I'm not. I didn't think it was funny. You're welcome.
All right, I'm gonna do some tweets. I need to go to the bathroom real soon. drank way too much water, so I'm going to get these last two tweets out. We're going to get out of here. Taker129 says, long-time listener, first-time tweeting you guys. I love the podcast, but I must admit I was a little annoyed by the quick dismissal of the PlayStation Stars. It's free to sign up, and you can get PlayStation... Drew, is this an alternate account? No. You can get PlayStation cards by spending the points you earn. It's a win-win for all.
Okay.
It is Drew's alternate account, right? No,
the dismissal comes from the fact that like this is not the first time Sony has done something like this. So outside of if you worked in around the PlayStation 3 era, if you worked in retail, and I know this is a very different scenario, but I just want to explain why I just go, all right, it's another Sony weird thing that they're probably not going to stick with. You could, if you worked in retail and you were selling Sony products, they allowed you to sign up and learn about their products, and they would exchange points with you for doing like basically informational things. Like, oh, you learned about the game that we're releasing, here's so many points. And then you could trade those points in and get discounted games.
Yeah, Microsoft used to do the same thing back in the original Xbox days.
Remember when Microsoft dropped off like boxes of free games for everybody that worked in the store?
I do remember that.
That was so cool.
So they got rid of that. They got rid of PlayStation Home. They've done all these rewarding you for being part of the PlayStation family sort of shit. And then never stick with it long enough. It never evolves into anything else. It just disappears, and there's nothing to replace it. And so when they're like, here's the new thing, I go, okay.
Dude, I'm a Sony Rewards member, and I'm going to be honest with you, I've redeemed one thing on it. Now, granted, that one thing I redeemed was a clerical error, which netted me a 85-inch television for $2. But that is literally the only thing I've ever redeemed.
Yeah, I don't believe that was a feature of the program.
Well,
it was then. It was for Ken.
Well, I don't even have that TV anymore. I gave it away.
You fucker.
It's too fucking big, dude. Dude,
too big.
It's way too big. 85 inches in a normal person's house is too big of a television.
Anthony plays all his games on one of those little screens that you used to be able to attach to the back of the PS1.
No, I have a black and white. Hold on, how many inches is it? I have a black and white television that has like antennas attached to it.
Somebody's going to isolate that. How many inches is it? Dialogue there.
4.5 mini black and white television with swivel base.
Okay. But aren't you the one that didn't even have like a 4K TV until like 6 months ago?
No, fucker. First off, I had a 4K television. I don't have anything that uses 4K. And you're the one that's upset. Like, you're more concerned about my television than I am.
It's a bit at this point.
It's just weird.
All
Did
right,
you upgrade your television yet?
No. The final tweet comes from Mookie, who says, it was such a delight to hear Terrence on the podcast again after all these years. Rant on, man. I'm around that age when I can't handle too many BS and just want to chill playing games.
Yep.
Oh, it has been nice to have a new person on the show, considering all the old people just want to leave, and Drew never shows up anyway, so... He's a son of a bitch. All right. That's all I've got, unless anybody has anything else. If you want to shoot us an email, it's podcast@ztgd.com. You want to follow us on Twitter, I'm at ZTGD, Ryan's at WombatRP, and the site is ZTGD Content. You can follow the podcast at N4G Podcast. And check us out on Spotify, Google Play, not Google Play, whatever the fuck the Google thing is. RSS feeds, Apple iTunes. I don't know, we're on YouTube too? Maybe? I don't remember. I think so. Yeah. Video games. Nothing? Nobody?
Nobody.
We'll get out of here. Peace, bitches.
Alrighty. And it goes something like this.
Epic fail.
Welcome to the N4G podcast. Oh, you can...
It's me, Mario.
Zero tolerance.
This is going to be a very interesting episode.
Gather time.
Greetings, programs. I got lost trying to find my way to the secret underground N4G Radio lair.
The Wombat.
I've always been being angry.
Killer Wolverine. Play games, not consoles. No fanboys allowed.
And then I killed the dragon. 8.0.
Killed the dragon.